Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Louie, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with Chris Dreyer, the founder and CEO of Rankings.io, a SEO-only digital marketing firm for attorneys. Welcome to the call, Chris.
Thanks for having me on, Malcolm. I'm happy to be here.
Chris, you grew your company's revenue from $307,000 in 2014 to $2.1 million in 2017, a 585% increase, and now you're on track to hit about $3.3 million. Two questions for you. Could you give a quick summary as to what your firm does and your specialty, and then perhaps share with me the three biggest drivers of your sales growth over the past few years?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So essentially all we do is we help law firms rank on the first page of Google. All we do is SEO. So we really laser focused into the legal vertical and also one core specialty, search engine optimization. In regards to this three strategies, the first is extreme focus. So because we're so focused on just SEO and just legal, it really helps highlight and laser target our ideal prospects. So it makes doing marketing easier. We can create collateral that speaks specifically to their pains in a way that's much better than our competitors that are trying to target multiple verticals. It also has that effect of brand recognition in the vertical and being known at being the best at something. So just extreme focus has really helped us out. In terms of lead generation strategy, we've always from the beginning, we concentrated on content marketing because content marketing has that form of compounding interest, so to speak. So, whenever we write a blog or we write a guest post, it's out there and can drive residual value over time. So we've done many of those activities. We've also concentrated on growing an email list and just developing our network. So we're very active in regards to developing relationships.
So would you put down growing your network, growing your relationships as the third driver of your sales growth?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say niching down and focus. The second would be activities that can compound and provide, an evergreen type of value. And then the third would be that, yeah.
Okay, great. Now, can you talk a little bit more about your extreme focus? Now, can you share, how focused you are as to the kinds of law firms that you help?
Yeah, so basically, there's two types of agencies that I typically see right now. There's, as Drew McClellan talks about, the bunny bread type of agency that, does service A, B, and C. It's kind of this package deal. And then you've got the other types of agencies that we fall in, which are essentially the artisan bread type, right? It's custom iterations. So we work with clients and we do a thorough discovery of what's wrong with their site and what, where they're at in regards to competition and what exactly they need to win and to gain market share for their specific situation. So everything we do is custom.
Are you targeting any particular types of law firms in particular? Are you even that much more niche down, or you're open to any type of law firms?
Well, we're definitely open to any law firm. If we can provide them if we're the right fit, so to speak. So, most of the time it ends up being the legal practices that are more saturated, where there's many of them. So personal injury law firms make up about 60% of our clientele. Work with a lot of criminal defense law firms, a lot of family law firms, and also bankruptcy law firms. Some of the specialty firms like, trademarks and intellectual property, some of those very narrow focused firms, because they're so focused, they don't have a lot of competition and they can get a lot of the SEO results on their own just because there's no competition. Personal injury lawyers, everyone's trying to rank for car accident lawyer phrases, truck accident lawyer. So there's an extreme demand for what we do.
Right. I could see how it's a lot more competitive in those areas as well. So I guess you need to be a bit careful as to who you bring on board, right? Because you don't There must be some physical distance between your clients, right? Otherwise, you'd be competing for the same results from the same
Yeah,
people.
yeah, and absolutely. So that ties back into that first statement I made about the two types of agencies. You know, those factory package A, B, and C agencies, they typically work with everyone. They work with as many clients as possible, right? So those types of agencies, your Fine Lawyer, Justia, Scorpion, they work with many, many clients, and it's almost a conflict of interest, because they're competing against each other. Where we only work with one client per market, and we do offer geographic exclusivity.
How do you figure out how big your geographic exclusivity should be?
It's really challenging, but one of the factors that we look at is where their office is physically located, because one of the top ranking signals in regards to SEO is proximity. So if they don't have a physical location in an area which they want to target, we can't truly give them exclusivity because that top ranking signal is proximity. So it's typically around their headquarter location.
How do you handle large metropolitan cities, like say New York City? How would you divide up New York for your clients?
So, and we do a mile radius, right? But it's hard to give you an exact answer, right? Because every location's a bit different. Even in Long Island, you've got the different towns and neighborhoods. So it really depends. So, but our core exclusivity radius is 25 miles around the headquarters. But, there's many ways to do this, right? You could give exclusivity against a specific competitor. Maybe a competitor is doing a lot of heavy TV advertising. You could do it, by practice area. So when I say, one client per market, we also do that per practice area. So for example, St. Louis, we would work with a personal injury law firm, but that wouldn't shut us away from a family law firm, a bankruptcy, criminal defense, because they don't truly compete against each other. And it's not a conflict of interest in that regard.
Right. Moving on a little bit to your lead generation strategy. Now, you said earlier that you generate leads primarily through your own content marketing. Is that your primary lead generation strategy?
So that's been an age-old practice that we've used from the very beginning. But with that strategy, we really leveraged it to create relationships. So I would say the relationship building is probably the best strategy we put into place. I know a lot of individuals talk about, referrals don't scale, but that hasn't been our experience. And one of the things that I like to say is, a solid referral partner is almost like an outside sales rep, right? They already have an audience. So it's just developing relationships with possibly other agencies that you don't compete against. So for example, because we only do SEO, many of our clients could benefit from pay-per-click, from social media, from case management software. And when those situations occur and we're the trusted advisor, we can refer to those individuals and set up a very good relationship in that manner.
And vice versa as well.
Absolutely.
So would you say your referral leads that come from your referral partners, now does that fall into the third driver that you shared with me, growing relationships? Because I have in my notes here, maybe I wrote it down wrong, that your second driver was your lead generation strategy through content marketing that has a compounding effect. And then the third one was growing your email list, growing your relationships. So where does the referral partner strategy fall into, the second driver or the third?
It would be the third, right? Relationships.
Okay. And can you share a little bit about your content marketing strategy and how that's helped you generate leads?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the techniques that we do is we try to provide content in the locations or on the sites in which our ideal clients, where they congregate, where they hang out, what they read, right? So we'll write blogs on legal-specific marketing sites. We'll write articles, on digital marketing sites that are specifically focused and speaking to attorneys. And basically, we do practice what we preach in regards to SEO. So we rank very well for a couple of our core terms, and it's because we're getting these inbound links from topically relevant sites, and we're continually compounding on a month-to-month and getting more of these each month, which in turn helps our overall authority and helps these landing pages rank.
Right. Can you share maybe from a relative breakdown how many leads, say in a month, say in any given month, or say last month, how many leads came from your content marketing and how many came from your referral partners?
So I would say about 50%, 50-50. We're getting right now anywhere from 15 to 20 leads a month. So it's not an extreme volume, and it's because we have a higher ticket sale. It's a more technical sale. Our sales cycle's a bit longer than other types of products. And also our retention, is typically, we have a 2.5-year retention of these clients that we sign up. So it's they provide a lot of long-term value.
Yeah, 2.5 years is pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for the 15 to 20 leads per month that you mentioned, is that total or is that coming from one source or the other?
That's total. Now it fluctuates. Like right now we're a little bit slower, and it also depends upon the drivers, right? So we occasionally go to some conferences. I'll have some speaking engagements. I may even do some webinars. So we've got these other marketing channels, right? We don't just do, content writing and this relationship building, but yeah, I'd say, on average, 20 inbound leads that are qualified each month.
Okay. And what would you expect? How many of the 15 to 20 will ultimately become your client after going through your sales process?
We're signing up, I would say, on average, 2 to 3 new clients each month.
Oh, nice.
We've had some much better months, but I don't know that we've ever went below 2, so I'd have to check that data. But it's pretty consistent.
Nice. Now, the content marketing that you do for your clients, does each client have their own original and unique content, or are you able to perhaps repurpose some content for clients who are in totally different markets, but yet they do similar work?
Yeah, so everything that we do is unique, right? So we don't repurpose. We would create new content for our client, and specifically for the legal vertical, you could run into a lot of advertising ethics and bar regulation issues, just compliance if you tried to repurpose content, because the laws vary from state to state. And one of the services that we're providing that's a bit different than other agencies besides the attorney-written content is we're really focusing on content upgrades. So, once we've identified those core phrases that we want to rank for, we've maximized the strength and authority of a page. So if a page is 1,000 words, we may add 4,000 words to it, interactive graphics, subheaders, FAQs, anything we can do to make that the absolute best piece of content for that respective client.
Right. Now, if you have two clients practicing the same kind of law, focusing on the same sort of potential client themselves, aren't those terms aren't they kind of competing against each other for the same terms then?
Well, they would, right? So that's where our exclusivity contracts come into play.
Okay.
That's why we provide that, and that's why we only work with one, so there is no conflict.
But not everyone, when they do a search for something, insert the city name in the search, though, right? So how do you handle that sort of competition for the same phrase?
Right, so that would be an entirely different situation where maybe a firm's going after these nationwide types of terms, and typically that is a massive investment because, instead of competing against one car accident lawyer, you're competing against everyone in the nation. So in those situations, we can't provide, I guess we could provide nationwide exclusivity, but it would have to take a very special circumstance for us to be able to provide that, or any agency to provide that for that manner.
Right. Well, what I mean is, like, say I wanted to find a lawyer to help me, right? I want to do, let me think, divorce lawyer, right? So I'm searching for divorce lawyer in Google, but I'm not, do people, I'm not certain if I would search for divorce lawyer Austin, where I'm based. I might just type in divorce lawyer. So won't I be competing against your other divorce lawyer contents, your other divorce law clients who are also trying to rank for divorce lawyer elsewhere in the nation?
Actually, you wouldn't, because Google does serve localized results. So even if you didn't put a geography phrase in your search, you would still see localized results. And
Mm-hmm.
that has to deal with proximity. And also when we create landing pages, that has to do with the geo-targeting of the title tags, the content, the copy, the permalink structure, all those components of on-page SEO. But Google does serve localized results.
Right. Okay. So Google would tend to serve me results of other Austin firms that are ranking for the phrase divorce lawyer, as opposed to some other firm that might be based somewhere else that uh, whatever magic they've done might rank quite strongly as well, irregardless of their geography.
Absolutely, and it can vary. The results can vary just zip code to zip code, right? You could be searching from a nearby location, and the results could change just because of those localized factors.
Right. Okay. I got it. Can you share a little bit on the way you go about growing your relationships with your referral partners?
The biggest thing is just providing value, right? And looking for experts at what they do, right? So when they can truly serve our client and benefit them, then those are the types of relationships we're looking for. So, whether it's video production, we know the manner in which media and content's being consumed is different. That could really benefit our clients. So when we are trying to develop these relationships, we do it a number of ways, right? It's from events. So we may meet a person at an event. We may start a relationship, form a relationship on LinkedIn and other social channels. But typically, we lead with providing them value as opposed to asking. So we'll provide a lot of value, or maybe even offer a referral before they send one in return.
Right. Okay. And the relationships you have with your referral partners, it's more of a quid pro quo sort of thing, informal, or is it all written out and documented and revenue share and fees and so on?
It just depends. They're on a case-by-case basis. We do pay a referral fee typically, but it just depends on the relationship. And some of our best referral partners, there's no commission. There's none of that at all. It's just it's genuinely trying to serve their best interests, and it's kind of a natural referral, so to speak. But we do offer commissions on referrals.
Mm-hmm. Can you share what you typically offer on your commissions on referrals?
Yeah, typically it's 10% is what we offer. So let's say it's a $10,000 a month contract where it's $120,000 for the year. That would be a 12 grand referral.
Okay, so 10% on the first year. It's not a recurring commission.
Yeah, we don't do a recurring commission. And again, I say typically, right? There are a couple special circumstances where we have. It's because after a year, it's up to us to retain that relationship, and that's the way that we think of it.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I mean, when I think about it as well, if someone wants a recurring commission, happy to pay for it, but they need to contribute as well on a recurring basis, right, for it to make sense.
Right, absolutely.
So, all right. Now, so for this year, you're looking at 3.3 million, roughly around that area for revenue, up from 2.1 last year. A nice, about a 50% increase, nice jump. What's your target for 2019? What are you looking to strive for and accomplish?
So we utilize EOS and traction, and our 1 year goal that falls. It doesn't fall on the same calendar year. Our 1 year target is the end of October, and our tentative goal is 4 million. So when it was established, so we're going to blow by that goal. But that is the goal we had set. So we're going to have to iterate on our 3 year and 5 year targets because we're growing at a bit faster pace than originally anticipated.
Okay. So how long ago did you set your $4 million target for 2019, for October 2019?
So we set that at the beginning of October 2018.
Okay. So, okay. So you might want to be, I'm just guessing, 4.5 maybe?
Yeah, I would say 5 is probably what we'll shoot.
5. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're doing 3.3 million in 2018. If you do another 50% increase, you're kind of looking at 5 million around there.
Yeah, and Malcolm, what's very bizarre and I is we've never really been focused on growth. Most of our team is operations based, and that retention has really helped us. And now we're at the point where we're starting to invest more in sales and marketing. So I think the $5 million mark is going to be much more achievable now.
Right. What are you thinking in regards to your investments in sales and marketing?
So currently for us, we many of the same things that you're doing. We want to look at other channels, particularly podcasts, as a way of getting connected and developing relationships. So it hits out of those 3 pillars we talked about. It hits 2 of them, right? It hits the permanent value because you're creating content. If you get a transcription and having the audio, but also it's an easy foot in the door for relationship building.
And how else are you going to be investing in your sales and marketing? The marketing side, you're looking to do some podcasts, things that have permanent value, persistency, that can open doors to relationships. How about on the sales side?
So sales side, that's the last hat that I haven't shed entirely. So I have been training our director of strategy to assist in sales. So we're going to be developing our sales force. We're still not investing into the outbound types of strategy, although at some point we may need a sales development rep, someone to set appointments and help with the qualification process. But right now, I would say it's more focused on marketing and less on sales, just due to it's for our specific niche, it doesn't take a lot of leads necessarily. It just takes the right types of leads because like I said, ours is a higher ticket type of sale and a more technical sale.
Right. So what do you think about doing marketing that's more outbound as opposed to inbound? What's your take on that?
Well, I think everything is good, right? I think there's solid strategies for outbound. It's much more difficult now because people are conditioned to ignore outbound, so you have to have creative ways. Interviewing people on podcasts, possibly hosting an event, and being part of the same association. We're providing some type of gift, right, that embodies the psychological response of reciprocity. So it's much more challenging to put your foot in the door, but I still think there's a very strong place for it.
Right. Have you ever looked into doing pay-per-click advertising for yourself?
We've done pay-per-click a bit, and we're actually going to get into it quite a bit more on the retargeting, Facebook ads side of things, and boosting our content, extending our content reach. Less on the paying for the actual queries, the traditional Google AdWords. I do see that as an opportunity in the future. However, in our industry, the cost per click is very high, and at this point, I would rather spend the investment in a different form of media than pay-per-click.
Right. How about email marketing? Is that something that you've experimented with?
So we are very focused on email marketing, heavily focused. In fact,
not so much on nurturing though, but more on a outbound basis.
I would say more on the nurturing side, actually, Malcolm.
Right.
So any lead that we receive that doesn't convert, we'll do, we'll drop them into a long-term nurture sequence where we provide value to these individuals. And, we've got a lot of lead magnets for case studies or, linkable assets and things like that where we can provide a lot of value. So we're very focused on capturing emails. It is extreme focus.
Sure. How about for email marketing on an outbound basis, doing the cold email marketing to reach out to the attorneys out there and see if they're interested in having your help with improving their SEO?
We have done very little of that. We've done more on the outbound LinkedIn messaging just
Hmm.
because of the selective targeting and capabilities of LinkedIn Sales Navigator.
Yeah,
But we haven't done as much outbound email marketing.
right. How has the LinkedIn outreach working for you with the Sales Navigator?
It's working really well. Yep.
So
It's, sorry, go ahead, Malcolm.
no, you go ahead. You're about to elaborate on the
Well, I was just going
LinkedIn.
to say, there's different touch points on LinkedIn. Right? So you've got your direct messaging, you've got your pulse messages, your feeds, your groups. So we also, when you send them a message, they get a direct email notification. So it's kind of combining two channels into one. And in my opinion, that's why we've been more successful there.
Right. Yeah, I personally find that with LinkedIn, just because they're on it and you're on it, there's something about the people who use LinkedIn. There's some commonality right there, right? If they're on it, there's a good chance that, and you're on it, there's a good chance that they're going to be receptive toward reaching to people reaching out to each other. Otherwise, they really wouldn't be on LinkedIn to begin with, right? That's what I've been finding. I find that people on LinkedIn are generally receptive toward being contacted on that platform as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I found the same thing.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to be your biggest challenge overall to grow your business from 3.3 to 5 million over the next year? The one absolute number one challenge. I know you're talking about trying to figure out the sales side. Is that your biggest challenge?
Gosh, I don't, if I say anything I say that's not that is going to be, it's going to sound like my ego getting the things. I'll just say, the Grant Cardone style, the 10 times rule, we're going to do whatever it takes to hit the goal. And we're going to exceed that goal, right? So the unrelentless determination. In terms of what would be the most difficult, I would say probably operations, even though, we have standard operating procedures. We're big proponents of the checklist manifesto. Operations is probably the biggest challenge, more so than marketing and sales, I would say. But again, I don't think that's going to be a killer or stopper to any degree.
Right. Two last questions for you, Chris. Who are your ideal clients, and what's the best way for them to contact your company?
Yeah, thanks, Malcolm. So our ideal clients are any firms that are wanting to achieve first page rankings, that have struggled to obtain those results in the past. We're the agency that you come to help rank on the first page and increase your visibility and grow your firm. In terms of the best way to get in touch with me, so you can contact us at our website, rankings.io, or you can actually send me a direct email to Chris, CHRIS, at rankings.io.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Chris, for sharing how you accelerated your company's high-value sales.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Malcolm. I really appreciate it, and thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. We've been speaking with Chris Dreyer, the founder and CEO of Rankings.io, about his company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit Eversprint.com.